Well, good afternoon to all of you again. And we have our now in our study in the book of Genesis. We are nearing the end. We are coming into a very, very interesting section once we reach the story of Joseph, and we'll get into a part of that today. And chapter 36 is, we're just going to highlight. We're actually not going to read chapter 36 because it's all names. It's genealogy. But I want to say just a little bit about it and why it is important. The book of Genesis, and particularly these opening chapters, but actually all through Genesis, is divided into 10 generations. And each of those generations then are listing a genealogy. And in chapter 36, Esau's genealogy or generation is the ninth. And so this chapter gives us an accounting of Esau's descendants. And remember that Esau was a twin brother to Jacob. And the line to the Messiah would flow through Jacob's family, his descendants. But also a considerable amount of information is of Esau's descendants. And there are some 200 names of Edomites throughout the Bible. So it's rather interesting. And of course, there's that connection to Jacob and his family. Verse 8 of this chapter says that Esau settled in the hill country of Seir. And this is where Esau had already moved before Jacob's return. But what's interesting about it, is that now Jacob had all of Canaan to himself and to his descendants. And so Esau's family moved away. In chapter 36, if we were to read it, it would tell us that Esau's family, his descendants, became so numerous, and Jacob's family became so numerous, and because they both had flocks, there wasn't enough room for them all to be close to each other. And so Esau decided to move away. So we said there was 50 miles to Shechem. There was another 16 or 17 miles beyond that to Dothan. So that's where Joseph is. From afar. And before he came near to them, they conspired against him to kill him. They said to one another, "Here comes this dreamer. Come now, let us kill him and throw him into one of the pits. Then we will say that a fierce animal has devoured him, and we will see what will become of his dreams." So you understand why I say that his brothers, Joseph's brothers, were probably not yet themselves God of their father. They were still rascals. They were jealous men. And they have no qualms, or at least not much of them, to even kill him, to kill their brother. That's what they're conspiring to do, to get rid of him. And they call him the dreamer. So the words in Hebrew literally mean master of dreams. They're speaking sarcastically. They're making fun of him. They probably recognize him from a distance from his coat. I mean, we're guessing that because they see him. Coats in those times would have typically been rather the similar, probably tan, darker colors, and they see somebody coming with brightly colored coat, and they guess right away that it is their brother Joseph. It would seem that they're thinking, well, you know what, if we can get rid of him now, if we can kill him, then we can make certain that, the dreams we have heard of us one day bowing down to him will never, ever take place. And so they conspire to kill him. And they say, let's kill him and throw his body into a pit. And there were those kinds of pits around in those days. The people of the area would dig cisterns to collect water during the season when there would be rain. But at certain times of the year, those pits would be dry. And remember, they also said, we'll just kind of pretend that a lion ate him or some other predator. And that could have entirely been, that was a reasonable assumption to pass that word on to the father, because there were lions in those days, Asian lions, smaller than African lions, but there were lions the same faced, and that Samson faced. And they were predators and dangerous. And so Joseph could easily be killed by an animal like that. But of course, their plan is just to kill him, throw him in the body, and then tell their father that he was eaten by a wild animal. Now, we find an objection by one of the brothers to the plan, verse 21. But when Reuben, remember he's the oldest of the brothers, when Reuben heard it, he rescued him out of their hands, saying, "Let us not take his life." And Reuben said to them, "Shed no blood. Throw him into this pit here in the wilderness, but do not lay a hand on him, that he might rescue him out of their hand to restore him to his father." So Reuben was stepping in to rescue his brother, his youngest brother, not his youngest, second to the youngest brother. Benjamin was the youngest, to rescue him. And his plan, he'd come back and he would rescue the boy and return him to his father. But then we continue with verse 23. So when Joseph came